Good evening. Thanks for joining me for Modern Group Team Selection Live in the lead up to Showdown 43. The ledger is currently all square at 21 apiece, which adds a little extra spice to an already mouth-watering clash. Now, shortly we'll be joined by assistant coach Scott Camporeale to talk through the Sunday squad. But first, let's have a look at the changes. So it's just 3 ins to the squad, with 3 to be omitted before the side is finalised tomorrow afternoon. Brad Crouch named after missing last weekend with a cheekbone injury. Jake Lever makes his way back in after 2 games out with a hamstring complaint. And Eddie Betts is a welcome inclusion on the back of surgery to remove his appendix 2 weeks ago. And joining us now is Campo. Thanks for being here. Talk us through the 3 ins.
Yeah, well, so from the 22 last week, obviously Jake comes in, Eddie and Brad, so they were able to get through training today. Still got another session on Saturday, so we'll see how they pan out over the next 24 hours.
So if we're talking about them individually, are there boxes they each need to tick to be included on Sunday? Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. Obviously it's still early in the week. We don't play till Sunday, so there's still a couple of things they need to tick off before we finalise the team.
Can you be any more specific on those?
With them individually?
Yeah, and what they need to do.
Yeah, well, obviously with Eddie, he's obviously had some surgery, so we've got to make sure, like the wound and all that's obviously all clear. And Brad, obviously with his face, you know, making sure he's recovered from that. And Jake, obviously, he's missed a bit of training and a bit of footy, so we'll make sure his hamstring's right and ready to go.
All right, what about last weekend and the slow start against the Pies? Was anything done differently on the training track this week to make sure we avoid that again?
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was really slow start, really, for the first half. But to the boys' credit, you know, the resilience they showed and the belief they've got, we were able to get ourselves back into it. But you know, it really came down to a bit of the contest stuff. Obviously, our contested ball numbers were well down, so we sharpened the focus today with some of that in training.
Showdowns are always very fierce encounters, but this one, Showdown 43, at the latter part of the season is so important for both teams. Just how important is this game of footy?
Yeah, no, it's a big game for both clubs. Obviously, they're still vying for a top 4 position as well, and we want to finish as high as we can, obviously, to make sure we get a home final as well. And it's really tight. You know, the ladders really can shuffle pretty quickly, with particularly the games that are coming up in the back half of this year. So, really important game for both teams. It's one of those games always, doesn't matter where they are on the ladder, they'll be a tight game.
Adelaide Oval set to be absolutely jam-packed. What sort of a bearing does that have on the game?
Well, it's always nice to have your home crowd there, no doubt about that. You know, early in the year, excuse me, was Port. So they got a pretty hostile reception, so I'd expect to have the 54,000 people, Adelaide Crows supporters there, really getting behind our guys on the weekend.
Well, thanks very much for your time, Campo. Good talking as always. All the best on Sunday, and thanks very much for your company as well. A reminder, we are live at 5:55 Monday through Thursday every week of the season. Go Crows.